Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are absolutely going to unpack a fascinating topic, the intersection of advertising and language. We're going to look in detail at exactly how the way the world communicates its biggest ideas has fundamentally shifted over time. So if you love understanding how global messaging actually evolves, well, you're definitely in the right place.
So how exactly is language evolving in global advertising? I mean, it's pretty easy to think of ads just as a quick way to sell products, right? But they're actually this incredible linguistic mirror of our entire society. Okay, let's dive into this and see exactly how technology is actively rewriting our messages.
You see, there's an undeniable connection between global messaging and linguistic shifts. The medium truly is the message here. As the platforms for world advertisement change, going all the way from ink on paper to pixels on a screen, the very vocabulary and grammar we use, they're forced to adapt. They completely morph to fit that new space.
Historically speaking, we can track this evolution across three very distinct technological eras. First up, we begin with Era 1, printing. That's the birth of mass text. Then we leap forward to Era 2, broadcasting, which introduced audio and motion to the masses. And finally, we arrive at Era 3, online platforms, the era of instant global interactivity. Really, this is the structural backbone of how human communication has leaped forward.
Let's move to and see how this builds across these specific platforms. Think about how completely different the linguistic requirements are for each one of these. I mean, the text on a printed page requires linear reading, right? It requires literacy. But a spoken word over a radio wave? That needs to grab your auditory attention instantly with a catchphrase or a jingle. And a digital space, well, that demands rapid, two-way interaction. Taking a closer look, step 1, the printing phase, was literally the dawn of mass communication. It relied entirely on static, visual words, just ink pressed onto a page. But the leap to step 2, broadcasting, changed absolutely everything. Advertising wasn't just read anymore, it was heard, it was seen in motion. This brought auditory cues, think catchy radio jingles, booming announcer voices, those really memorable spoken slogans, right into the mix. And there is a heavy historical weight to that transition.
And that brings our timeline directly into the digital age, the online platform era. This third major phase took the static visual text of printing, combined it with the dynamic audio of broadcasting, and basically threw them both into a giant blender of instant, global, two-way communication. It completely fractured traditional grammar, it replaced full sentences with hyperlinks, hashtag campaigns, and comment sections.
But here is where things take a truly brilliant turn. We've established the history, right? Printing, broadcasting, and online platforms. But what comes next? Take a second to really think about that. Where does communication go when the internet is literally everywhere? We're stepping out of history now and into a highly disruptive, futuristic prediction. We are experiencing a massive paradigm shift. On one side, we have our past. That's a strictly verbal evolution entirely focused on finding the perfect written or spoken words. But on the other side, the future. We are making a disruptive leap into non-verbal communication. The future of global advertising isn't about agonizing over better adjectives anymore. It's about transcending words entirely.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how it emphasizes a complete pivot away from traditional language. We're entering the non-verbal transformation. While the entire history of ads was built on the alphabet, the rules of the game today are totally changing. Our reliance on traditional, spelled-out language is rapidly making way for something entirely different, and honestly, something much more universal.
There's a quote directly from the source material that captures it absolutely perfectly. It says, "Nonverbal communication will transform the internet world." And this brilliantly illustrates the core thesis we're exploring today. This isn't just saying we're going to see more pictures online. No, it's a profound statement that nonverbal cues will fundamentally alter the very fabric of how the web operates.
So the crucial point is the immense gravity of that word, transform. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how global platforms operate. Think about it for a second. Emojis, visual memes, intuitive swipe interfaces, algorithmic behavioral targeting, these are all nonverbal. It is a massive shift from explicit written messaging to this implicit, unspoken understanding.
To bring this all together, there are basically two main takeaways here. First, world advertising has evolved through distinct technological leaps: printing, broadcasting, and now online platforms.
And second, a nonverbal transformation is actively rewriting the internet as we speak. This matters because every single time you interact online, you are participating in this exact shift.
Which brings us to the end of the explainer. I want to leave you with a final provocative thought. You know the history now, and you know exactly where the future is heading. So, how will nonverbal communication transform your internet world? As you browse, shop, and interact online today, pay close attention to what isn't being said with words. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep exploring.